Welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. Today is the 27th of March 2024. My name is Adam Rosman. I will be your host today. Previous meeting was cancelled because of KubeCon, and I think we can skip the introductions. Please remember that the meeting is recorded. If you want to help the project, check out the issues within the Metal3 IO project that has the Have Wanted label. During KubeCon, there was a lot of these issues created. And then if you feel that your organization would benefit from adding itself as a Metal3 adopter, then please do so. You can do it by editing the adopters.md file in the root of the community repository. And then if you're interested about any of our project metrics, please check out Clone Monitor, DevStats, or the CI pipelines. And if you are experiencing a CI-related issue, then please create a ticket. And then when you create a ticket in the project section at the Metal3 CI tracker to help the CI maintainers track it. Okay, yeah, these were the generic info. I have removed the KubeCon information because that has passed. And then the first topic is from the community working groups, and it's the Ironic scalability. And from Dimitri, some Ironic standalone operator updates.
Thank you. Apologies for my voice. Got stuck by some conference flu. Yeah, so Ironic standalone operator. We met together with a few of us, and we ended up moving it at the Metal3 IO a bit informally. But I guess they already have more or less a consensus that is something that should be happening. So that opened us opportunity to work more on it, especially the CI jobs, for example, which I know. Thank you for already starting working on this, Madam Leonard. Tomo, it's very cool. Now, other positive things that came from KubeCon, I did have some time to work on end-to-end tests for that. They're pretty simple. I'm not really great at doing this sort of stuff, but there is a test job that installs everything in a kind and then creates an Ironic resource. Very simple so far. I'm still struggling with the distributed Ironic. But there is, yes, if you look at SU-test, which the cargo quoted for something auto-generated, there's a bit of a test here that creates an Ironic resource, waits for it to be available, and then checks that service is okay. Yeah, I'm working on tests for distributed Ironic, and I also want to do some testing that the Ironic is actually deployed correctly. Probably my plan right now is to create a new container image temporary with some Go executables that will use cluster networking for testing things like, do we have authentication? Can we actually reach database? Do we have conductors and stuff like this? So that's in the future, but I'm pretty happy to report that we now have at least very simple test that verifies that the resource is in fact reconciled. We had some great discussions with Adam, Leonard, and Ricardo during the KubeCon, in which I think we hammered up the plan for distributed architecture. You can check the link, it's in the agenda document. It's my bit lengthy. It's the next one. Okay, the previous one, HA planning, is it like, that's the wrong link.
The HA or the other one? This one, right?
Yeah, the long one.
The long one.
There is a summary in the end. I think we are on track for actually doing that. And then there is a new long discussion about avoiding host networking on all services. But that is still in the discussion phase, and any opinions are very welcome because there are open questions still which we're not sure about. So yeah, Ironic standalone operator is definitely progressing. It'd be interesting. I'd be interested in actually trying it with Metal Cube Defend or with some environment, maybe with BMO end-to-end tests or with something real, because it hasn't seen any real testing so far, but I definitely need help because my time is very limited at this point. Yeah, that's a report from my side. I also pinged Ironic IRC for someone to review, for someone who is not me to review fake APA, because it's not great that only Ricardo and myself have been reviewing it so far. And nobody really showed really excited about this, so maybe Ricardo and I actually review that again. And that's the status.
Yep, thank you, Dimitri. I just added this release team section so that folks who are part of the release team, I know there was a release a few days ago, if I remember correctly. So please fill that out. And yeah, I just wanted to say that thanks for donating the standalone operator for the Metal3 project. And I think this will really help the project going forward. And let's figure out all these topics that we are already discussing. I think for the HA planning, we are quite advanced, but yeah, host networking will be interesting to get rid of. I think we can go to the discussion topics if there are no other questions. But if you have questions, folks.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
First of all, thank you very much, Dimitri, for your work and the donation. And the question is there some visible trace somewhere of this donation? Because Adam said that you went through the GitHub donation, something. Is there something I could take a look, because I have never seen this process? Or is it?
Have not like left any written artifact about this, to be honest. Or what do you mean?
I mean, Adam just said that there was some GitHub specific donation process that you followed.
Yeah,
it's just moving ownership, really.
Yeah.
I moved it from my personal account to Metal3. That's it.
Okay. So it was just that. I figured there actually was some donation process that you sign something and blah blah blah. But okay, that makes sense. No worries then.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, no, then thanks for filling out the release section. Would you like to talk about the upcoming and the current releases? I think, Dimitri, you filled out the ironic image part.
I hope Ricardo can talk about this. My throat is really sore.
Sorry, I got distracted with another discussion at the same time. Can you say that again?
No, just
few
words.
Release.
Yeah, a few words about the upcoming release.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so there's been the the official Caracal release will for like OpenStack Caracal release will happen next week. So we actually already released the final version for Ironic, but since the deadline is tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, today is 27, so yeah, it's tomorrow. I'm going to wait for basically next week to have a new release for the Ironic image.
Yeah, sounds good. Others from the CapM3 release team?
Yes, so we did the beta release for CapM3 and IPM yesterday, I believe. Basically, we want to test the latest CapB releases as soon they release the beta. We want to test it. So now we will also be doing the beta and RCs on the CapM3 and IPM side. So yeah, test it. And if you see any issues, you can report. Yep, that's mostly it.
Thank you very much. And I see there was
and
yep.
then a question on the BMO. So this Ironic release coincides quite well with the upcoming 1.7 cycle. So we will, after the Ironic is released, we will, I guess, pin the new Ironic release on the BMO side and release that as well, right?
I think that's also a good idea because the Caracal release is a stable release, so it actually lasts longer than the bug fix ones. So you may, yeah, it's definitely a good idea to pin the new BMO release to that.
All right, cool. We will probably then also make an RC release out of it with the CapM3 and IPM. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, folks, and thanks, Toma, for writing down that what's the change within the ESG side of the release team. I just shuffled around a little bit. Okay, I think we can continue with the discussion topics, and that's also from you, Dimitri.
Thank you. Yeah, he would expect me to care about my throat and try not to talk too much, but yeah. So I wanted to share a few KubeCon takeaways. I guess a couple of people here were not at KubeCon, so it may be of interest for you. It was a really, really productive time. We had some enormous interest at our booth. I think we were one of the most popular booths in the whole project pavilion. I believe so. Also a lot of hallway discussions, also a few interesting talks, although I was mostly concentrated on hallway discussions. So a brief summary of my takeaways are: quick start docs are great. I think we've done a good job with like Leonard's new document. We need more like entry-level documentation. Like at least half of people at the booth were asking, where do I start? Like, what do I need to start? And when they heard the answer, okay, you need BMC address and BMC credentials, they were pretty relieved because they probably expected more. So we need at least some page where we say, okay, you have completely green field, you have 0 now. What do you need? What do you start with? Like in terms of hardware details, in terms of networking, in terms of software. Really like a brief summary before we even talk about installing this, installing that, right? Even let people understand if we can install this and that. So that's one thing. Contributions welcome, by the way. Ironic standalone operator, I already reported on that. A lot of progress. I had a few discussions of potential features. Adam and I talked about full disk cleaning. We even have like everything that we needed for that. Our automated cleaning field is a string, not a Boolean. So we planned for eventually have full disk cleaning. I believe Ironic did not allow us to do that per node at that point, but I also believe it's possible now. Sufficiently destroying FS, yeah, it was another thing we talked about. Just do it. Certainly, one person was asking about burning in hardware, as in like testing it to make sure it performs to a certain extent. And Ironic has that. We implemented that by request of CERN, who is also burning in hardware, and they have like 10,000 machines, so they need to control what they're getting there. So it's an Ironic. I wonder if we need to bring it on the MetaCube, at least, again, if there's any interest, let me know. I volunteered a couple of people from Red Hat to do discovery of GPU devices, simply because everything is around AI and GPU, and it's a missed opportunity that our inspection does not report GPU devices currently. Like, why? It would be cool. These people won't get to it until maybe the middle of the year, to be just to set the expectations right, because they're only starting with Metal project. We talked about better stories around images with Adam, with a few other folks. From two angles, actually, maybe having some sort of like ready-to-use image cache, maybe an Ironic standalone operator. So something like people could say, okay, download a cache me an Ubuntu image, or even modify me Ubuntu image, because I know it in part of Nordic's project to have some modifications for images. Maybe it's like not a well thought idea. I'm just throwing things in the air. And support for ACI images, and Adam has been interested in that for a long time, and he managed to get me interested in that, which unfortunately is not a promise to work on it, but I'm curious. Another thing, large question people ask is, how do I know if my hardware is supported? Which again, first we need documentation. I believe I have some information on Redfish and downstream docs. I can just move it around. Like we specify which firmware versions are tested by our quality engineers. We can specify which Redfish calls are required. So there's definitely a possibility to improve upstream docs. And something I want to pitch you is we have a project again in OpenShift called BMC test. And it is essentially a shell script that uses Ironic image to exercise hardware. To go try power it on, power it off, set boot device, connect virtual media. So with no Kubernetes, nothing, just, install it locally and try things. If there's interest, let me know. Derek or Tudor from our team can join next time and showcase it. And if there's more interest, we can bring it under Metal3 organization, for instance, and document it and open it for more people to give it a try. Because it essentially produces a report of what your hardware can do and cannot do, specifically from Ironic's perspective, not just abstractly. Yeah, I'll finish in just to let me know what you think about this. Interest in mixed clusters, so using CAPM3 with things that are not bare metal. The funniest example was, I believe, somebody asking about Equinox, so the packet API, but also about virtual solutions. I was very disappointed to learn that CAPI doesn't allow that automatically. Well, yeah, so we may see more about this. Composable hardware was very interesting talk. Check for the guy from IBM Research was talking about using Sunfish, which is, you can guess, a relative of Redfish, to handle composable hardware, which means essentially disconnecting GPUs on demand. I pitched him maybe bringing part of his effort under Metal3 because we clearly have overlap. And actually, the guy is a Metal3 user, so he's fond of Metal3. So maybe something comes out of it. Again, not soon, but eventually. Also, conversation with CNCF people, community people about a potential webinar. I'm gonna try to organize that in a few weeks. So essentially, I will volunteer a few people or ask a few people to volunteer politely to make maybe 30-40 minute video, like high quality video, maybe even rehearsed with a plot, and it's not called plot, right? But anyway, like very good quality video that we can push across CNCF channels. It's generally not something sandbox projects do, but I believe we can do that. And just as, okay, jumping over the last item, maybe again a question for you, maybe we should update our blog. I believe we have a blog on metalcube.io with a summary of KubeCon. We can take this summary as a beginning, or any of your downstream summaries, and just publish something to revive our blog, which I hope we have. And before I wrap up, it was really great to see some of you. It's awesome time with you, also during dinners and just various conversations. I hope we see each other again, not in 3 more years. That's it. Questions and comments about BMC test, blog, and webinar and stuff.
Yeah, please go on. I was there, so anyone who has any comments, questions, opinions?
Yeah, I can maybe share from the previous KubeCon, the finding about the AI and the GPUs was also very evident there. So I guess we just didn't communicate it as clearly that we should maybe think about it earlier. It's just that, yeah, it's just so much easier to notice when you are actually there. You can see these things. And the second part we found there was like observability, but I'm not sure if we have much to improve on that or to do with that.
Yeah.
Improve on what you said?
Observability.
Ah, right.
Yeah. Open
Yeah,
telemetry.
Yeah, those two things, like the AI and the GPUs, and then the observability were the key takeaways from the North American KubeCon. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I think this was the same, very similar for the 2024 Europe also. I've seen an ocean of different observability telemetry providers, like Solutions Showcase. Half of the booths were doing something based on open telemetry. So yeah, and then also the AI. Yeah. Yeah, from my side, one thing I noticed, in addition to all of this, was that there are from time to time people who are interested using MetaCube with hardware that has no BMC. There were again one person who was actually working on like agricultural equipment, and he actually needs to provision bare metal, but then he might not have the BMCs because of like not using actual enterprise servers, but just some embedded devices, and that's what is kind of a pain point. But we discussed this multiple times before, that it's kind of a bit outside of the structure of Ironic currently, because we cannot. We were discussing this with Leonard also a few times, that, and with Dimitri, that the biggest pain point that you cannot modify the BIOS boot order, for example, and you cannot power off the machines. But yeah.
Yeah, we even can hack together like provisioning, but deprovisioning is definitely an issue.
Exactly. I also stopped at the CupMass. There was a canonical boot. We asked around how they do it, because they do like quasi lifecycle management with devices that has no BMC, but it requires, as far as I understood, you might be more experienced with mass. I'm not, but as I understood, they just wake it up with the machine with the magic packet on LAN, wake on LAN, and then do PXE booting, and then everything else is done by software on the actually managed device, and you need a very customized image, if I understood correctly. So
yeah, that was a problem. I mean, there exists a wake on LAN driver for Ironic. It's not in tree, but it exists. How much we want to support that, I don't know. Maybe we should rather move people towards SNMP. I hope Ricardo is not gonna weep at this point. I'm mentioning SNMP because I had so many problems with it. But there is an SNMP driver in Ironic, so we have a switch-ish thingy. So this, I don't remember what exactly that is. It's like power controller or whatever, which people can use if they don't have a real BMC. It's a bit a better option than Wake on LAN, because I cannot imagine somebody in their right mind keeping Wake on LAN enabled in their data center. but this SNMP power switch may be an option for like a cheaper option for people who want to play with that.
And in your experience, sorry, I know that your throat hurts, but in your experience, or maybe Ricardo, you can answer this. How supported SNMPs with non-enterprise network cards? So like if like someone, it's just a stupid example, but if someone has a Raspberry Pi or a BeagleBone or some other single board computer, maybe even like Intel based, and these usually have these cheap Realtek NICs or something similar. Do those support any SNMP? Or
as far as I understand, it's less about the device supporting SNMP, more something like you have basically a power strip with like power sockets that is remotely controllable.
Yeah.
And so your server, you can power it on and off, not through the server itself, but through this power strip or like basically power outlet. So again, you cannot change boot devices or nothing, but you can power it on and off, which is a good thing, by just basically plugging and unplugging it from the socket programmatically. Ricardo is correct, right?
Yeah, it's basically like that. I mean, there are some implementation of like more advanced implementations, but I don't think like you can find them anymore because SNMP is, well, something that is. So first of all, for non-enterprise devices, honestly, I've done only some experiments, but I've never done anything like really intense because I always worked on SNMP in enterprise environments. So, but in general, I mean, you can really not do a lot, as Dimitri was saying. It's power off, power on, get some hardware monitoring, maybe some alerts, stuff like that. But that's all.
But that's more than Wake on LAN. So
that's yes. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, it's more than Wake on. It's not just Wake on LAN. Yeah.
okay, thank you. Yeah, I was looking into this also, and I'm also noticed that Ironic had or have still driver. But yeah, no, I don't want to suggest to use that. It's kind of like nothing seemed to be like a elegant solution, sadly. But yeah, any other questions related to the experiences? Okay. If nothing, I think yeah, we already passed half an hour. I don't really have anything else to add. I had pretty much the same experiences during the KubeCon. Maybe the only thing is that at the end of the keynote, the last day, in kind of the prediction was that the next 10 years of platform will be basically gaining, and the goal will be to gain more maturity, and the other was to figure out how to best run the AI workloads. But I guess with AI, there will come both this composable hardware and also these heterogeneous hardwares that have like, I think Ironic already has some support for these special network cards and whatnot, but this will just become even more crazy, like hosts within the hosts. So, or nodes within the nodes from Ironic perspective. Okay, I think we can continue with triaging. I wonder. Oh, we have a few. Let's see.
Before we do that, so I had a couple of questions about BMC test first, if there's any interest, and about a potential blog post, if there is any interest.
Certainly in the post, like that's for sure.
Yeah, I
from
can
VM.
start a Google Doc and share with whoever's interested. With you, Adam. Who else? No volunteers. All right.
Yeah, I anyways in like a presentation streak, so let's just add the blog post to it. And then BMC test. I don't remember that downstream we had BMC testing like requirements to test functionality, but we had issues with misbehaving BMC hardware. I think I mentioned that I don't know if I mentioned that on KubeCon, but we had BMCs that had problems with powering on and off machines, and they were kind of making the whole ironic state transitions like a nightmare. It's like half of the time it didn't work, half of the time it worked, and it was all because of the BMC. It was like emulated BMC, so not real physical hardware. So BMC based testing or functionality discovery is always welcome, I guess. But it depends how much. You mentioned that this already exists. This is already something that we can just grab or like take over. And is it actively maintained right now, or what's the state of it? This you have a link actually.
So BMC test is just a bit of bash thrown together by our team members. Really, doesn't need a lot of maintenance. It's pretty recent. It's not like ancient. We sometimes point our customers and partners at that to when they ask, okay, will your like Metal platform work with our hardware? So actually, okay, try running this, and if it works, you have good chances. If it breaks, you have very few chances. So that's basically it. I mean, you can check out its like source code. You can finish it in one day, especially if you skip the but if you use the main one and skip the OpenShift specific parts. That's like generic parts which you're looking at, and it's not like really a ton of stuff. Again, I can invite our guys to demo it next time if you're interested. Generally, you don't need to make like the final decision now.
Yeah, why not? The demo can't hurt. It's anyways a good feature or tool. Anyone else? Anything? Okay, if no one has any comments or questions related to the topics, then I guess we can continue, and then we will discuss this as we go. From my perspective, all of this sounds good or necessary at some point. For me, at the moment, the urgency is on disk-related stuff because I'm now working with that and hitting issues around that. But yeah, the others are also sound good to improve on. Okay, let's continue with the triaging. Okay, so that's what I guess that's what you just mentioned. How can I use this project? Any use case for the project we're sharing to use it?
Yeah, that's sort of along these lines we just discussed, right? People want to have more entry points, more clear entry points.
Yeah, this guy is asking the IPAM in each case, and it's like it's
Oh,
interesting.
specifically as IPAM. Okay.
Yeah, and I actually asked Lennart about this and suggested that we make some sort of quick start for IPAM as well. But the copy has this in-cluster IPAM coming, so we are doing a comparison between those two, and if this our IPAM is relevant anymore. So before putting any major effort into creating nice documentation for IPAM, then that should be concluded.
Okay. Who is doing it? And I can.
Lennart and Peppi.
Okay.
I mean, we can just show we can link the documentation we have in the books.
Yeah. We can do the book one also. How much do we have in the books? Let me see. Yes. Yeah, we can link this. Nope. It's this one. Okay. Thank you all. Let's continue with this. Okay, why does this need triage? Oh yeah, I had some issues. But I have removed the label. And then last time it was not adding the label. Okay. Never mind. It was just some documentation stuff that I created last time for the KubeCon. Nothing serious. This was something originally envisioned by Lennart. I just moved it out of the draft state. And yeah, it's basically just what we already talked about, to move away from bash scripts and make it these sort of utilities Go-based. And that's it basically.
Can you zoom in zoom in a bit
more? Okay.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
I just left a comment that it would be cool to have it a part of Sushi Tools, because we in Ironic also have two places where we do the same thing. They configure Sushi Tools, run, create networking and stuff like this. I'm not sure it's feasible, but at least let's at least consider it as a possibility.
I mean, I'm wondering. Yeah, it's basically the LibVirt part of Sushi Tool is pretty advanced. I mean, it has virtual media and other drivers don't even have that. So what we would add basically is a networking support. So how would I envision this is that we could specify, like, for example, a Virsh. What is the format of network configuration in the libvirt?
XML.
Yeah, XML. Yeah, XML. So we would probably just feed the XML into the Sushi tools, and then it would just pass it through the libvirt driver in the Sushi tools, and we would have a network, I guess. And then it can.
We could have a CLI there. I mean, not necessarily using Sushi Tools as a service, although it could be a possibility to use Sushi Tools as a service too. Or it could be a CLI, or it could be Ansible playbook. I mean, I'm less worried about what shape the code takes, and more about something we could reuse, for example, in Ironic and Bifrost potentially, rather than specific to Metal3. At least as a suggestion.
Yeah, I mean that would be also completely okay by me. Like the main thing is just to lose the complexity of the bash, and because right now it's bash combined with Ansible that creates the XMLs that are being templated, and there are even some custom Python module for the Ansible to generate MAC addresses and whatnot. So it's a bit of a weirdness. Because I was just thinking that this is not just about the network, but the VMs also. And right now, the libvirt driver also in the Sushi tools just manages stuff that we already put there. So you already instantiated the network, the VM, and it can just shuffle the image, attach it, and stuff like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, maybe I should define the scope first and then see where this belongs and which form it really takes.
Yeah. I mean,
anyway, generally for this idea, don't take it as an objection. Just
yeah. I mean, if it can help two communities, that's even better. So I would be all for it. I anyway see this Sushi tools being used for other use cases also, not just even for MetaCube, based on recent experience. So and the Sushi tool code is still pretty understandable. So it's not a giant code base. So why not? Yeah, and this is again, like, it has no triage label, but then still shows up as needs triage. Okay. Okay. I don't remember this one. Add resource to request execution workload on bare metal host. Oh, okay, there was already this guy. Oh, there was quite a lot of discussion here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I already suspect what's the prior art. Oh, yes. The frozen prior art, yes. Okay, so we arrived back to this again to use the bare metal host without the Kubernetes, and now there are two different approaches. The previous one, if I remember, this was just about representing them and having them run. It was not about workload scheduling and workload injection or execution, just to have a host operator, just to group them into logical groups, and then have the same templating logic as we have with the MetaCube machine templates and so on, but without the Kubernetes. And then this one is almost like an addition to that we would somehow even execute some workloads, if I understand correctly, or maybe just the name is what's confusing to me. Data templates, inplates, updates, yeah, remediation, yeah, that's almost like the other one. Yeah, and this is the new thing to execute some simple services directly on bare metal. We might not want to specify exactly which machine to use. Okay, so there would be even scheduling involved here.
I think we should take our time to read that outside of the meeting because it's just so much information and so much to think of. I have it open in my tab right now, so hopefully I get to it in the near future.
Yeah, but I agree with you that you pointed out that old frozen proposal.
And I feel like it has to be a design proposal as well, not just a GitHub bug. Because the people already drawing diagrams in response to each other, it's going to be unmanageable really soon.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm just wondering about the status of the issue. So we accepted the previous one, so the topic is accepted. So yeah, and the Canot project and the Silva and yeah. Yeah, because where this stuff comes from, if we think about the Orange, Canot, and Silva and all this stuff, they have even like the whole CD chain already implemented. They can deliver stuff onto the nodes. Yeah, I mean, why not? But we have to. So you say, Dimitri, that this has to end up with like the output of this issue should be a proposal, right? A formal proposal, not discussion on the thread, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah, I'm afraid we just not be we are not gonna agree on such a complex thing by writing comments to each other. We hit our limits with distributed with HA proposal to the Ironic operator already. This is going to be much more complex. So yeah, I think they don't need to update the old design proposal, but in U1 where we could comment is probably a good thing. And they have everything they need basically in this bug already. They just have to copy paste it into our template and start reviewing. So it's not even a lot of work for them.
This is heavily feature. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Enhancement suggestion for image pre-pull. Oh, this was made by Robin. Okay. I don't know. I have to read it. I have not experienced any devenv image pooling issues. I know. I agree that it's slow. Could be slow if your network is slow because it's big disk images. But
I mean, there are two issues. The first is that if it's corrupted, then it's not detected because it only checks for the file existence. And the second is that the logging is horrible.
Yeah,
So,
we can. Yeah, I agree. We can log it better. I agree with you, Tomo, that no progress bar because of like if you use it in automation, this will look very weird. I know the end goal is to not use the devenv in CIs, but still. So then we would agree that the output of this should be a nicer logging and a checking the checksum, basically, right?
yeah, that would be good. Although I personally don't really like the whole pre-pooling thing. But yes, that's what this ticket is for.
Yeah. But this is just pre-pooling for the mem. This is not pre-pooling for image building, right? It's just for like you anyways have to download to use it. At some point, you have to download it to your machine. This. Anyways. Okay. For installing Ubuntu packages in case the repositories already set up. Oh yeah. This I think I have hit this one.
Yeah, we have hit this one quite a few times, but this is also not an issue if you use it in a VM, but use it, try to use the web on your own machine, basically, which is something we don't really recommend because the dev is trigger happy changing all sorts of things that shouldn't be changed on a laptop. So it's again a really like a weird corner case.
Yeah. Okay, and I think these were all, let me just sort them with recently updated. This was updated last week. Yeah, but this is yeah, I didn't really understood this. I mean, I understood the problem that this is a deployment problem and whatnot, but I don't really completely understand the text either. I don't know. If someone could please help out with this one, or kind of decipher that what actually is the goal here. I just won't waste your time with this right now. And this is, yeah, this is paired with that also, and there's like no communication for a long time. Both of them are stale. Yeah, and all the other ones, I believe these are all old ones. Okay, this was all the needs triage stuff. Let's quickly check the stale. Yeah, nothing that. Yeah, this one is actually not stale. And those two I already mentioned. Okay. Sorry, this took a bit longer than expected, but thanks for your time. Is there any questions or comments or anything you would still like to discuss? Okay, if nothing, then yeah, as I said, thank you for participating in the meeting. And
Sorry, Adam.
Yeah.
Quick comment. There will be Ironic PTG, our regular PTG, in 2 weeks. So everyone is warmly welcome to come. I can announce it on the mailing list as well for people who are not here, but just wanted to mention it. The link is in the agenda.
Yeah, thanks. That would be great. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. Anything else, anyone? Okay, then have a nice rest of the day, and let's meet next week the same time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.